Hey, good morning and good afternoon, party people. We are here to do the honest trailer commentary for John Wick, chapters 2 and 3. Yeah, not sorry. I'm here with John. I'm here with Danielle. We're going to be talking about our real deep behind the scenes thought process for John Wick 2 and 3. We're also going to be showing you some cut scenes. We will be responding to comments and questions from viewers like yourself, so keep them coming in the chat. And we will tease you with next week's honest trailer at the very end, so stick around for that. But right up top, let's just get right into it, because these movies sure don't waste any time. What do you feel about the John Wick sequels? I will start. I like them. They're fine. I mean, they're really good. I still think the first one is the best one, but I think that these are passable, if not really excellent sequels. They fall into the more is better trap, where I think that there was a certain purity to the first one of they killed his dog, so he's going to kill all of them. And they try to, in 2 and 3, Lionsgate rightfully is like, we've got a hit on our hands, let's make it into a world and keep building it out and giving you more and more layers of how the assassin bureaucracy works that I don't need. I just wish he got a series of house pets that were killed and he just kept avenging them. That's all I wanted. But that's my, in a nutshell, take on the John Wick sequels. What say ye?
Yeah, I really like them. They're really fun. Like for me, I was going to say this, and I'm realizing how weird this is going to make me sound. They're really good date movies. Because you could
Oh,
just you could just like hang out and like watch all the headshots and people getting killed with books and other different kinds of peripheral items. And it's just like it's really fun and it's kind of brainless and you can like crack jokes and do all that stuff. So, plus it's this is gonna sound weird for someone who classically, like, everyone knows I love wrestling. Um, Sometimes with action scenes, it starts to be too much and I just tune out. And just like with the first one, I do think that they do a really good job of like telling a story with the action where it isn't just, I mean, we do all the headshots and all that stuff, but there is a story for everything. That there's the library story, there's the Hall of Mirrors story, and it keeps it really interesting and lively for me. So yeah, good date movie. Find someone you want to make out with and do it to John Wick.
wow! You're gonna have a lot of proposals in the
Yeah,
comment.
yeah.
Careful. Lon, what's your take?
I loved it. I mean, to me, there's the three, there's the trinity of modern action franchises, which is Wicks, Fast and or Furious, and your Mission Impossible's Tom Cruise being a superhero. Those are my favorites, and yeah, I really like how they approach this one, which is the first movie gives you all you need to know about John Wick, the man. Like, we're never going to explore his character in any greater depth. It's done. That's who he is. We found out his name is Jagdani in part 3. That's the only new wrinkle. And I'm like roughly okay with that. Like, we know who Wick is. He's established, and now we're making this ridiculous, totally goofy and cartoonish, but I still love it, like assassin verse. And now we just get to peel back all of those various crazy layers, and it gets more, like large scale and silly all the time. And yeah, I mean, I think the best movie from this whole trilogy is 2, because it marries the stuff I liked about the first movie with this really clever and creative and also really goofy, larger world of everybody's doing crime all the time.
Okay, well, I think we'll all have more thoughts on that, but let's roll the honest trailer for Wicks 2 and 3.
I'm a little sorry we didn't do a parody like Wild Wild Wick, Wiki, like hip hop song
Hey,
summarizing the
stay
action
tuned. Well, yeah,
of
we
the
didn't
Wick
go that
trilogy.
far. There is one outtake that may reference it. But
Okay.
We'll see.
Before you see John Wick with extremely sad dad energy, revisit the sequels about a man with Karen hair killing anyone who gets between him and the manager.
I seek a meeting with the one who sits above the table.
John Wick 2 and John Wick 3 Parabellum. One of these titles is not like the others. You
Pause.
remember.
I guess a couple things about that. One, I have yet to see Nobody, which I really want
Me
to.
either.
How does
Yeah, I
it
haven't
compare? Have you? So none of us have seen it.
Mm-mm,
Okay,
I
well, it
haven't.
looks cool.
It's good. It's good. It,
Oh,
it
thanks,
feels
Ryan.
it's the same. Yeah, it's good. It's exactly that energy. Yeah, it's exactly what you think it is.
Yeah, and it's a I would say it's a budding genre, but it's really like going back to Death Wish or earlier, where it's like, oh, you pissed off the wrong guy, which is always, that's all you need as far as an action movie plot, as far as I'm concerned. He's the wrong guy. You pissed him off on the wrong day. When do we bend it to the breaking point? Because I feel like Bob Odenkirk, sure, I mean, I have so much residual love for him from Mr. Show and stuff like that. I think like you get to Liam Neeson in like the later Takens, like the Taken 3s of the world, and you're like,
I mean, where they had to cut 30 times for him to get over the chain link fence? Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but like Keanu's in his 50s. I mean, he can still do it for sure, but like, are we just tempting fate? Are we just gonna get older and more broke down?
I don't know. To me, it feels like at this point, John Wick, it's like he's like a superhero. Like, it's not believable, even if he was like 22 and like a perfect specimen. The stuff he's doing in these movies is not realistic or believable anyway. So it's like, well, if you could accept a man doing all of these impossible things, why not accept a man doing all these impossible things who's also 20 years past his like athletic peak? Like, it really doesn't bother me at all. I think so much of that stuff is the way that you pull it off technically. Like, it can look bad to have an older guy try to do an action scene, and you can tell that they don't, like Robert De Niro curb stomping the guy in The Irishman, where you're like, you could use all the CGI you want. I could tell that is a 75-year-old man moving around. So, I mean, you can sometimes they can't pull it off, but the John Wick movies, it's like, I can tell that he's an older guy.
But there's a little bit of, I feel like I thought we'd get to it later, but there's a bit of a dissonance between, you're right, he's a superhero, he's unkillable, he can do anything, he's invulnerable, but on a scene by scene basis, they play it like he's very human and hurt and winded and like, like he's showing damage from all these fights, but it never carries over from scene to scene.
Right.
Like,
he resets at
every edit
level,
point, it gives him like full health. He's back to full health.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of dissonance there, but I just think it'd be funny is to have, how about Academy Award winner Anthony Hopkins? How about he pissed him off? And
how about Academy Award winner Judi Dench? Man?
Exactly.
Now you're talking.
Exactly.
That's a date movie.
Honestly, I'm not kidding. I would go see Judi Dench do a movie like this. Like, why not? Like, you got guns. She doesn't need to be punching all the time. Like, I'm still in.
100%.
I guess Helen Mirren's doing Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
now, so we're not that far away.
She's got action scenes in the next one. So
in the Red movies,
right, that's right. Yeah, so Helen Mirren already has kind of crossed over to old lady action star. All right. Why not? I mean, we got the effect. If we're not going to use the technology to make it look like 90-year-olds are going on a killing spree, what are we even using the technology for, folks?
Messing
and
up.
I don't want to spoil nobody, but if when we're talking old person still got it action scene, maybe the best part of Nobody, and I'm not talking about Bob Odenkirk, so that's just a tease of it. Some great old person action.
We know it's already been spoiled for me.
Well, not to me, so
I'm not going to say.
Keep that on the. All right. Anyways, keep going.
You remember John Wick 1, when a gangster killed John Wick's dog, so he very understandably murdered everyone. Now, in John Wick 2, he'll kill just as many goons to retrieve his old Mustang that's worth like $50K tops. And in John Wick 3, he'll kill so many people for such a...
We're already being taken to task in the comments by car aficionados saying, like, actually, a mint condition one of those at auction is much more than $50K. I just looked up the year of the Mustang that it was and looked at actual prices if you could buy one right now, and it was like 30 to 60K, somewhere in there.
Also, mint condition, look at it by the time he's done with it.
Well, by the time he's done with it, it's I feel like is it John Leguizamo who plays the
yes, Aurelio,
he's definitely running a scam on John Wick, because there's zero way he could repair that car, he could fix that car. He's definitely buying another one and then just like pocketing all the gold coins or whatever the currency conversion is.
How do you know? Right. Everybody just kind of knows what amount of gold coins everything. There's no haggling in this world. It's always just, this is worth 3 gold coins. Well, thank you, sir.
I did 8. Yes. 80 kills is worth 10 coins or whatever.
Yeah, like is it an hourly thing? I would love to see how the gold coin economy is functioning.
I imagine it is a Bitcoin, which is why it's so random, like how it fluctuates so much. Like a coin can either get you a new car or a drink at a bar. Yeah. So it's just like you check your phone, you're like, oh, I'm rich, or oh, I'm poor. Like you just have to.
Oh, sorry.
I'm afraid that
a coin is worth 8 heads this year.
I'm afraid that will be 2 NFTs, Mr. Wick.
Makes more sense than the real thing. All right, keep going.
For such vague reasons, you'll start to wonder if vengeance-fueled murder sprees aren't just his very specific fetish.
I think you're addicted to it, to the vengeance.
See? Mafia guy gets it. That dead dog was just the excuse he was waiting for. Sorry.
I'm thinking I'm
Experienced
back.
Keanu Reeves, just as kick-ass and monotone as he was 20 years ago.
What do you need? Guns. Lots of guns.
As he plays the role of John Wick well into his 50s, and somehow gets better at fighting and shooting along the way.
I mean, so impressive. Like, I guess it makes sense. We'll pause. Like, you know, you practice things, you get better at them. But I don't know. I'm just not used to stars doing their own action for extended long shots. Like even Marvel movies and stuff like that. It's always in a dark warehouse, and that's not Anthony Mackie. And like and granted, they definitely have a stunt double for this movie for plenty of shots.
Yeah, that was always him on
getting
the horse.
Yeah, well, no, he was, well, at least for some of it. I think
he was on the horse.
I read some article where it said like he learned how to do trick riding on a horse. So I assume that an amount of that scene was really him. More than your average action star for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it was Cruise who introduced this idea of like, what if I just learned how to do all of this stuff myself? And nobody is doing it on that level because it's like part of his religion that he's a superhero. But I think that it definitely has inspired sort of this new generation to like take on more of this stuff themselves. And I mean, I guess it's also like The Raid, where we're just like kind of melding like martial arts star and action star into one seamless.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, it's I mean, it's no less impressive, but it's just more novel because Keanu was not always this guy, and they've turned him into this guy.
Right.
Yeah, no, Johnny Mnemonic, he was like, all right, I'll be in my trailer. You guys mess around with whatever.
Enjoy your laser whip scene.
Yeah,
which I still do. Okay, keep going.
Join this legendary assassin, whose name is still a laxative for criminals.
It's not just a car. It is John Wick's car.
Oh.
But 3 movies in, he's starting to maybe get a little too powerful, taking out every assassin in New York in a row while injured, having him straight up teleport once in a while.
I love that.
And giving him some kind of immunity to being run over by cars.
Must be nice.
Yeah, sorry.
I just feel like he's got like a car-shaped callus on the side of his body where just like bumpers go.
And this was just an excuse to play this Meet Joe Black that I've been trying to
this is the only
find a
good
place
part.
for. Lon, would you like to share your Meet Joe Black screening story? Go ahead.
This was at the point where I was doing screenings and junkets because I was writing for the Daily Bruin, the UCLA paper. So I went to go see this movie because I was interviewing Brad Pitt and whatever the next day, and no idea what was coming there. We just thought we were watching a movie, and it opens in a very like rom-com kind of place where he and Claire Forlani have this meet cute on the street. And that moment is like they kind of look back like, oh, they like each other. And then he gets hit by this car. And it's really brutal and crazy. And the audience freaked out like nobody knew it was coming. And people were like screaming because, you're not, it's not that kind of energy going into it. It's extra bracing and shocking. So yeah, that's a crazy moment in that crazy movie.
Well, I mean, not to call you out, but at least what you told me was that you started laughing and nobody else was.
Of course, who wouldn't start laughing at that? And yeah, people like kind of looked at me like I was the college kid. It was like, oh, immature. And it's like, how could you not think that was funny? It's like the most amazing.
It's like a Farrelly Brothers shot in the middle of an otherwise like a Nora Ephron movie. It's very jarring.
It's this wild left turn. So yeah, of course, I thought it was funny immediately and assumed other people would, but they.
And then Danielle, it started to feel excessive when
it
started to feel excessive when, at your suggestion, we put in the Jamaican accent clip from Meet Joe Black as well.
It's a lot of Meet Joe Black
at this point.
Yeah, I mean, should we just do the honest trailer for Meet Joe Black?
Yes, I wish
And
that we could
Geely.
do
It'll be a
unpopular movies because that's where all the fun stuff is.
Yeah.
But
do the Martin Brest Geely Meet Joe Black double feature.
Oh,
It'd be
yeah.
amazing.
Oh,
just the yoga scene alone is we'll just play that unedited.
You don't need us to comment on this.
Okay. Anyways, let's keep going.
Go deeper into the secret world of assassins and criminals that lurks just under the surface to discover that it's pretty boring and barely makes sense. Featuring their own silly cryptocurrencies.
This coin, it does not represent the monetary value. It represents the commerce of relationships.
You hand me your ticket, I will tear it.
For a man to grant a market to another is blood oath.
Extreme amounts of table manners.
The ticket does not stand above the table.
The high table wants your life.
I had to follow the rules of the table.
The high table?
The high table.
High table.
Under the 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 table. Serving the table. Everything is under the table.
And the same kind of rules you make up playing freeze tag at recess. Safe, yeah, you can't kill me. But this whole parallel society of killers and criminals manages to stay underground thanks to the continued silence of everyone in New York.
Now.
Can you even say they're part of the underworld? Seems like it's just the world at this point. I mean, even the homeless are a highly trained network of super spies.
Yeah, that was pause. It's look, this is probably the fictional world I would least want to live in because I feel like the implications of this are horrifying. That everybody is either a criminal, in the criminal services industry, the underground criminal services industry, or part of the homeless super spy network, or a target. I guess that's it. And like they must have so many murders going on that could explain. I thought it was just because it was New York, but that could explain why nobody reacts very much to all the like fights and dead bodies in the middle of them. I guess it's sort of New York anyways, but
underground is doing a lot of work with that word because it's very overground. It's happening literally everywhere all the time.
I might actually, because at first I was where you are, where I was like, I guess this is just like there's so many criminals that it's just criminalities everywhere. I'm at the point now where I don't think there are any just like marks. I think everybody who is the victim of crime was already doing a different crime, and it's just criminals doing crime on each other at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know if there even are innocents in this New York. I think it's like all the people in the background who are like shocked by the killing. It's like, well, they're money laundering or something. They're just not involved in this crime. They're on their way home from a different robbery entirely.
Yeah, with that many assassins, you eventually run out of targets and you just turn on each other. Like it's just
I don't think
assassins all the way down.
I don't think anybody just like works at a bodega in John Wick. I think you work at a bodega, but that's your front.
You kill people with a hookah, like you have
there's
an attack cat.
One of those like bears full of honey that nobody's bought like turns and then a wall opens and then it's just like guns everywhere. Like everybody.
Yeah.
Explosive chopped cheese sandwiches. And I thought that this, to me, I get a little bored with the world building in this franchise. I don't really care because mostly it's like about an org chart and who's on top of who and whose rules in which jurisdictions count. And I feel like there's maybe a better way to like dramatize this instead of just having all these sit downs where they talk about, you know, whose code of conduct matters in this province of the assassin world. I kind of don't care.
I just think it's hard at this point in 2021 to write tough guy crime boss style, and I speak from personal experience here because I've tried to do it. And like it's just you get money plane where it's just like we've written every formulation of like I'm a tough guy and I'm in charge, god damn it, you know, like it's how many times. So what I think Derek Kolstad sort of very brilliantly innovated in this movie is, well, if I make up a really complicated fantasy world, I could just have the tough mob guys talk about that instead of just like creative ways to talk about what they're going to do to each other, which is like every other movie. And so I really like that. Like, I don't know. I think they do a very good job of like, it's alternate reality. So you're always learning something new from the boring monologuing that would usually just be like the filler part of the action movie until they shoot each other.
Yeah. Well said. All right. Keep going.
No one can get between John Wick and his mission, but that won't stop an army of dumb schmucks from trying. As he'll fight through a rogue's gallery.
But they're not shocked. They're like,
Well, just because it's John Wick, it's like, I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah,
There goes my Saturday night.
Of ethnic stereotypes, guys who literally bring a knife to a gunfight, and his fellow super assassins, who without exception approach John Wick from the front, out in the open, for a little chit-chat before the fight.
It's good to have you back.
You working?
Yeah. You sure this is what you want to do?
40 million, it's a lot of money.
Look, I'm not a trained killer or anything, but just a thought. Don't.
Yeah,
So
again,
enjoy
pause.
this.
You know, I'm not an assassin, but I feel like one of the first things they teach you in assassin school is like, don't announce yourself and have a conversation with your target before you attack them. That's pretty much chapter 1, Book of Assassinations. Don't let them know you're coming. And if they do find out, like, don't stand around and have a little tete-a-tete about, working together before you pull out your knife and start shooting.
You have to tell them what a stan you are.
You got to pay your
How will
respects.
they know you're not a Wickian or whatever? What's the Barb version of a Wick guy? You know, how are they going to know that you're not a Wickian if you don't tell them how much you love his work?
Oh no, I'm a Wickian. I'm sorry.
No.
More of a shy guy and a Constantine. They were together. But.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that you could have them leap from the shadows and John Wick like barely escapes, and then they have like the standoff, and then they talk. Just a thought.
It is weird. I'll give you. There's very like it's a constantly moving target. The like code of professional conduct in the Wickverse. Like it's okay to attack a guy like 7-on-1 when he's like bleeding out and unarmed, and you've all got machine guns. But it's like. You also have to like shake their hand first, and there's like a formalized greeting and stuff. Like, wait, but it's totally unfair. Like, why? There's no code of honor here. You're gonna try to murder him.
Yeah,
like
it's very anime rules of fighting, where
right.
It's like
before
you gotta
you
have
bash
your
my face in
conversation.
with that book. We must like Queensbury rules of bashing my face in with the book. Oh, okay. Yeah.
This isn't even my final form. Horse attack.
Yeah, like that's what I wrote in the notes was like, there's a lot of like, truly it is an honor to meet you on the noble field of battle, Mr. Wick. And now I will shoot you in the face with a bazooka, even though you have a pencil. Like, that's not, yeah.
All right, keep going.
Franchise that loves guns so much, you'll swear they're campaigning for something.
I need something robust.
Robust.
Anything for the end of the night. Something big, bold.
That feels like it hates humanity about as much as it loves animals.
Good dog.
But as long as people are willing to pay to watch Keanu put his health and safety on the line for our entertainment, they'll keep ending these things with unapologetic sequel bait, even if he literally has to be wheeled into his next fight. Who's got more left in the tank, Keanu or Cruz? My money's on Tom. Little guy freaks me out.
Pause. Yeah, I think we'll still be getting Mission Impossible movies for longer than we'll be getting John Wick movies.
They've kind of sort of hinted around that these two are gonna be the grand finale. I felt like
For Wick or Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. Like McHugh is doing 2 more with Cruise, and then who knows if they'll keep to it. But I feel like they've been making it sound like this is the big finish. You know, like we're bringing everybody back. But again, if they do enough business and it works well enough, who's to say they won't be like, we'll do 2 more.
I think they'll do 1 more Wick and then find ways to spin it off because
they're doing another
the
Wick,
Continental.
But then they're also doing the TV show. Yeah.
And aren't they doing one based on like the Ballerina Academy or whatever?
I think that's still in the maybe pile, but it's out there. It's in the ether. It may happen.
And going back to the how they end with sequel bait and stuff like that, like this is one of those franchises like Back to the Future, where if you actually run the chronology, everything Marty McFly goes through in 3 movies takes place over 10 days or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And like this, man, John Wick's having a bad week.
I like how they'll occasionally remind you of that in context. Like somebody will be like, "Oh, right, I heard about that thing last week with the dog." Like they're at least trying to be like, "Not that much time has passed, gang."
Yeah, let the guy take a nap or something.
He doesn't. The potty has got to be a concern. There are some times where he's not getting time for bathroom breaks.
No, he didn't.
Like maybe
they probably cut that scene where he crapped himself in the desert.
Okay, there he's got a few moments, but
I hope they give him some time to relax. And yeah, I guess Lawrence Fishburne's fine. He just has a few light scars on his face after getting cut 7 times with a samurai sword. Strong face. All right.
This was a whole debate. Oh, should we bring people in on our behind the scenes debate? Do we think the Bowery King, did he build this network from previously existing homeless people? Like, did he gather together homeless people who were like, we should become a network of spies and criminals and assassins all around the city? Or are these trained assassins that he's then been like, you guys should dress as hobos and scatter yourselves around the city and pretend to be, drifters as my eyes and ears?
To me, this is like an internship or an entry-level position in the world of assassins. You can't go straight into the Gucci turtlenecks and, having a cool gimmick and stuff like that. Like, you got to put on the big coat and the sweatpants and sit in the subway for a few years, get your legs under you, and then you get to graduate to maybe like a guy who runs a donut shop that's actually like a cyanide vendor or something like that. But you have to say like, what glazed donut is it today? Strawberry glaze is delicious.
I think the Continental series should be every season he like moves one rung up the criminality ladder. So like by season 10, they're an elite assassin. But the first few seasons is just like donut shop covering for a place to buy grenades.
I want to see the class where you learn the innuendos. That's what I want to see.
It's a huge translation of dictionary book. Like,
I hope Peter Serafinowicz is running that school. He's the best at it.
Yeah, he was great. So I think Bowery is rung 1 on the ladder, and then you move your way up. Is my assumption, but I'm sure we'll learn more. Anyways, keep going.
Starring The Wicker Man. Never sneak up on a man who's been in a chemical fire.
So pause.
Ruby Rose.
I just saw Hot Rod for the first time like a couple weeks ago, and man, that's probably my favorite Ian McShane performance now. Maybe it's just so memorable. I've never seen him like that before.
I believe you'd never seen Hot Rod before.
I know, it slipped through the cracks. You'd think I'd catch it, but it's an underrated gem.
So good.
Yeah.
Jeez, really
underrated. Yeah. Nothing but good things to say about Hot Rod and Ian McShane's performance. So if like me you haven't seen it, let this honest trailer be the final push.
If you take one thing away from today's honest trailer commentaries, let it be watch Hot Rod.
Yep, there you go. Anyhow, keep going.
Ruby Rose. Oh, we're using our poor names. Then I am Dax Slimehammer. Porpheus.
You see rats with wings, but I see the internet.
I used to love him. Surrey. National Basketball Assassination. Dog Woman. Ale Cuisine. Also starring headshots like the Regretful Headshot, the Almost Forgot Headshot, the Spinning Headshot.
There are even more headshots than we put here. Way
Behind
more.
the Back Headshots.
I was amazed at how long that was.
The Halle Berry.
I hope we
Come on
learned
in.
this that it doesn't get
The Intimate Standing Headshot.
So
The
far, so good.
K-Niner.
That's good.
The Put Him Out of His Misery Headshot. Underwater Headshot. The Now You See Me Headshot.
Whoop.
The Grab and Go Headshot.
The classical
The John
music for a second.
Wikipedia. The Throat Slash plus Headshot Combo Platter. The Dazed and Confused. The Ain't Anywhere Near the Headshot. The Mercy Kill Headshot. The Chin Shot. The Wild West.
You know what we're missing is the one where he's on the sumo and he's shooting down into the.
It was in my list.
Oh.
The Exploder.
We had to cut some.
I think I called it the Death from Above.
The Exploder, chunky style. And who even needs a gun headshot?
That was a great. We cheered in the theater.
John Wick Chapter 2 and John Wick 3, Lorem Ipsum.
Pause. There's one thing we forgot to mention in the trailer that I think we've remarked upon is like the overabundance of like rooms with hall of mirrors in this world, and like assassin friendly locations. Like, we just rolled into this collection of knives and 6-shooter store.
Literally everywhere he goes is like underground neon Eurotrash nightclub that's all hallway. Like that's every place that he enters.
Again, it's like a fantasy world.
Places that are just open air as well, like not everything is like a dank, cavernous, like we're underneath Prague and it's 3 a.m.
Now you need the dank.
You need the dank.
You need the dank.
Yeah, every location is like.
And I think it was the Us trailer where we talked about how like movies.
Too many halls of mirrors.
Movies have like 100 times more halls of mirrors than the
kissing booths. Yeah. Kissing booths like, and halls of mirrors are only a thing that exist in film.
It's that John Mulaney bit about quicksand. It's like if you based it on movies, you'd be encountering halls of mirrors in your life all the time.
Yeah,
like it never happens.
All right, keep going.
Okay, is every killer for hire in New York on the same group text? Unsubscribe.
Yeah, a lot of group text. And also something else about
if you saw your name, you'd be like, oh crap.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The ladies who work in like the steno pool underneath the Continental, like that, are they like also a roller derby team, or is it like, oh, you work here for life? Here's your Sailor Jerry tattoos. Get behind an old fashioned typewriter.
Yeah, and I guess you graduate and you become the madame of a burlesque troupe. I guess that's the only where else that you can go.
It's like reverse Disneyland. You have to have a ton of tattoos on your hands, or they're like, no, not interested. Get out.
Right.
We're trying to create an atmosphere here.
That's just the Portland branch of the assassination world.
I didn't notice until this most recent time. Did you? The guy who plays the Penguin, whose name I'm blanking on, from Gotham, is in there in I believe it's 2.
Okay.
I didn't even notice that.
He's got the 2.
Yeah,
well, there
you
go.
He's got the lip ring.
All right. Well, thank y'all for watching. We still have more show, so stick around. But if you haven't yet, subscribe, hit that bell. Later today, we're going to tell you what to watch after you finish The Falcon and the Winter Soldier in another video, because that's all wrapped up. So give that a watch as well. And also, we have things we cut from this very trailer. Let's see what didn't make it in.
In the Wikiverse, you're either an assassin, a fancy shopkeeper, or a murder hobo. Take your pick. Starring, I'd rather die than live in a world where I can't kick your ass. Broke-ass Morpheus, I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to shoot through it.
You see rats with wings, but I see the internet.
Chairman Killer, Jane Wick. Wow, John. The Wick and the Dead.
Yeah, there you go. What was I gonna say? Oh, Mark Dacascos. How do you say his name?
Yeah. Mark Dacascos.
Yeah, all of those were references to the fact that he was the host of Iron Chef America, which is one of my favorite shows. He was the chairman. And they say he's the cousin or like the nephew of the Japanese chairman Kaga. I don't think that's true, but I like the mythology. I like that.
No, he's not really related to that actor. Their characters in the Iron Chef verse are related.
Okay, just checking.
I think that goes without saying.
Wait, are you saying that Chairman Kaga in Iron Chef Japan's not a real eccentric food stadium builder? He's just an actor?
No, he's real, Spencer. It's just the other characters. No. The original Iron Chef is based on a true story, I think, as we all know.
Okay, good.
Okay. Obviously.
All right, good. Okay.
Robin Lord Taylor, by the way, is that actor's name. He plays the Penguin on Gotham.
Well, there you go. So now on to the questions that you've been putting into the chat. Adam Hulbert writes, is Lon the closest to an actual Wick because he has a beard and a dog? Yeah, I mean, look,
moonlight as an assassin.
I hate to even put this out into the universe, but if someone were to harm Taco, I feel like that would make any of us snap, but you especially, and you would be fully justified in whatever you did to that person afterwards.
I just generally feel like it would be cool if a guy like me went on a crazy streak of revenge, like a 42-year-old like nerd world writer guy. Like I would be one of those people you would not suspect to go on like a crazy.
You would never suspect it, but you do have a past,
but
and yeah,
be
that
kind of
past
cool
included.
to see though, right? Be like, I'd pay $7, check it out.
Yeah,
Write it.
Or like a Don Quixote style one where like you actually don't have any idea what you're doing. I guess that's Blue Ruin, basically. That's
Yeah, we all know if I was in the Wick verse though, I'd just be like next to Jason Mantzoukas. Be like, tick tock, Mr. Wick. Aimlessly to the Bowery.
Yeah, you'd be in the Bowery Boys.
I'd be one of those guys in the Bowery, like, I don't know, man, under the table.
Okay, a lot of interesting questions. Kelly W says, is more of a comment, the director said the gold coins are more like business cards. It's like a business card that you use to pay for drinks and services.
Well, it's like, if you ever go, as someone who, I used to be a paralegal, as I've talked about, you go to like some bars and you put your business card in the bowl. And then when you do that, they might pick it out and you get a week, like a night full of free drinks. So it's kind of like that. Like you switch those off.
I mean, but like on some level, it has to function as currency. Like he goes into the doctor and is like, sew me up, here's a coin. Like that guy can't go give John Wick's business card to someone else as payment for something. It's gotta on some level work as money, right? Or what's the point?
Yeah. Let's see. So Benjamin Abramowitz suggests, can we hide a Brad Pitt run over scene in every Honest trailer from now on, like the Alan Raptor? I don't think you can really hide that. I mean, Kevin's very talented as an editor, but I don't think you can subtly sneak that into the background.
Brad Pitt being flung around to the background.
I like where your head's at. Think big. Okay, Evan J. Pretzer asks, question for all. They've said they will keep making these movies until the public no longer wants them. What kills this franchise?
Ooh.
I mean, I do think sort of what we were saying before, like there will be a point where Keanu will just like get too long in the tooth or not want to do it anymore. Or it'll just stop seeming believable on screen or acceptable for us. And I feel like that'll do it. I don't feel like you could replace Keanu as Wick. I think you could do like the Halle Berry spinoff or the Continental spinoff or whatever. But I think on some, you can't replace John Wick.
But that's what breaks it, is that like we find out that John Wick had a daughter and she can also kill people with library books. So no.
And there's definitely a prequel shaped hole in this franchise because they keep talking. I'm pretty sure we haven't seen it or even described it, of like the impossible task John Wick did to leave the life. Like, what was the impossible thing he did when he was younger, slightly younger? But an interesting fact from Alan Presland, all stuntmen grow beards and then shave parts off so they can use them again for other scenes. So every stuntman, starts with a beard and then as necessary can move that around. It's a stunt beard, classic stunt beard.
Oh. Classic stunt. I mean, that's what this is.
Yeah. That's interesting. This one's kind of tough, might require a little bit of thought, but it's an interesting question. Slavaton Rock writes, are there any other relatively small movies with great premises where you want to see the John Wick sequel approach and explore the world and just get more of that place you were living in?
That's a good question.
Hack Danielle. I mean, I've always wanted to see more of the world of The Last Dragon. Apparently there's a bunch of different gangs fighting around New York, all ran by different guys who run arcades. I want to see that.
You could certainly do, jumping off that, the Warriors, if you wanted to just have more boroughs or update that and the gangs have changed or something like that. Like, what are the baseball Furies doing now?
I mean, I'm tempted to just say, because I loved it so much in the little weird world it created, Game Night, that comedy from a few years ago. Like, I definitely think, because we just see the sort of like one little thing happening, but it's such a weird, cartoony, alternate universe, just more generally. And I just want to see more Jesse Plemons. So yeah, I would love that. I feel like you could do something like that with the Game Night verse.
You could do a John. He even has the little dog. He could totally do a John Wick movie.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Jesse Plemons in Game Night doing a John Wick. I'm in.
Love it.
And then we'll close with this, and it's more of just a pat on the back for our lovely parent company Fandom. Lady Senbonzakura writes, the Fandom wiki for the John Wick franchise is called the John Wiki, and I think that's amazing. I agree.
Well done.
100% agree. I love it. Like the Star Wars one is Wikipedia. So yeah, any other wiki title names you can think of. I'm a big pun fan. So, and I love John Bailey suggested John Wikipedia, which I think was the standout the headshot name of the montage. So it takes a village here. But we'll be back.
Very collaborative.
Yes, we'll be back next week for another thing that let's see. How to tease this. Well, it's another continuation of somebody's story. It's not a sequel, but it'll probably lead to sequels of someone you've heard of before. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you, Lon. Thank you, Danielle. Thanks, everyone, for joining this episode of Honest Trailer Commentaries. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.